who knows what the outcome would have been. But we put things in such perspectives in our carnal minds that we just don't believe in certain things. Like we want to call Paul, he is a great apostle, and I'm not trying to bring him down, but he was a human being just like you and me. But he made a choice to follow what God had for him. He became a doer in the things that God had for him. He could have said no. He could have said no just as well as any of the rest of them could have said no. Moses tried very hard to say no, by the way. If you remember reading, 3 different times he made excuses to God, saying, no, I can't. But God was merciful enough to even bring forth Aaron and say, well, I'll let him speak for you if you'll just go. If you just go and do, I'll let him speak for you. Even though God knew with a man with a stutter could still do it. But it was a weight. It was besetting him and holding him back and was trying to keep Moses from doing what God called him to do. It was trying to keep him away from that plan. See, it's been all through time that the enemy has used weights, used things against people to put them back, to keep them from going forward in what God has wanted them to do. People against you. Situations against you. Things against you. Every way that you look. I know it's happening to me and Lisa. I'm sure it's happening to you all. I'm sure it's things that's happening to you, trying to pull you away, trying to get you away, worries and concerns. And some of them some of them I know for some of you it's your children. I know that. I know for some of you it's family things. Some of you's got health issues. There's other things that's weights that's besetting you, that's pulling you down. I know some things that the Lord shows me. But He don't show me to put you down. He shows me so I can help you and try to be there for you and try to help you that we can finish this, because you got to understand, this is God's building, but the church is us. It's us. And it takes every part. It takes us all. That's what we better recognize. Verse 5, and ye have forgotten the extortion and the speaketh unto you as unto children. My son, despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, He chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom He receiveth. If ye endure chastening, God dealeth with you as with sons. For what son is of whom the Father chasteneth not? But if ye be without chastisement, whereof all the partakers, then ye are bastards and not sons. The Lord will try to correct us if we are letting weights beset us. He'll allow things to bother us. He'll allow things upon us. He'll allow situations to try to correct us, to say, hey, you got to get in the right path. Just as much as a good dad or a good parent would try. Now, Lisa was good at this, because I was gone all the time, of correcting our children and getting them in the right paths and getting them in the right way. And I thank God for her doing those things that she did. But if God loves you, and we even read it in the lukewarm church, God chastens those He loves. So to be under God trying to straighten us into the path and trying to tell us to become doers and trying to tell us, listen to what the enemy's doing and grab hold of it, this is why I'm not letting you have fullness of joy. This is why I'm not letting you be in a place of peace. We heard even Jeremy talk about he'd been miserable for 7 years, and he even explained it deeper in his story about because he would not follow what God wanted to do, preach the Word and come and do what He wanted him to do. He was under the chastening hand of God. He was miserable. He was miserable in every way that he turned and everything. He could find a little joy every now and then, but he'd go right back to misery. And that's called God's chastening hand. He will not let you find it, because God is the giver of love, of joy, and of peace. And He's not going to give us those things if we do not follow what He has for us. He loves us enough to not let us be comfortable in a place that He don't want us to be in. He loves you enough. Just as much as a father would chasten his son or try to correct his children from doing wrong. If you do not, you can see it. It's called what we say hellions out there right now. That's running wild, that no parent has ever done anything, trying to correct them, and what they end up becoming. What does those children end up being? Well, if God, is that really love? When a parent wants to turn around and say, but I'm loving them because I can't whip them. You know, I've cried one time that I whipped Briar before I whipped him. I really did. I did. It hurt me more to whip him than it did him. It really did. So how do you think God feels? If it hurts us as much as we love our children, He loves us way more. How much do you think it hurts Him to try to correct us? I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. When He's begging and saying, what will it take for me to get you to a place that you can find that joy? What's it going to take for me to get you to that place where you're going to find that real peace? What's it going to take? And He may be crying in heaven. I don't know. I don't know. They said there are no tears in heaven. I don't know. But I'm sure it breaks His heart when He's sitting there going, what am I going to have to do to grab a hold of people that they'll finally say, wait a minute. God, it must be something wrong because I'm not finding it. As I said 3.5 years ago, Lord began to quicken me. Really quicken me. Where is that fruit and where is that power at? And I began to realize it's me. Lord, it must be me. And we better recognize that. Lord, it can't be you. It must be me. Some way I got to be missing something. Because you promised me that I'd have love, joy, and peace. Why ain't I got it? Why am I not having it? Is it that God will not allow it to come to us because we're not following exactly what He wants us to do? Is it because we're allowing these weights to beset us and pull us back that we can't run our race with patience? Is it because we can make valid excuses? Like we said today, a valid excuse in the world would be Peter, when he just come off from fishing all night, I'm tired. That is a valid excuse today to do a lot of things. That's a valid excuse to say, Lord, I can't go back out. I just think I'm going to go home and rest. I'm wore plumb out. I have worked all night. And how many times today will people not even come to the house of God or do things for God because they're wore out? How many times? When He's saying clearly that is not a valid, there's no excuse. There's going to be none that's going to stand before me that's going to be able to be worked. Because you're looking through it through the carnal eyes, through the carnal mind, and your flesh will battle against you, and you're letting your flesh overcome. You're letting your wore out body overcome you. And how many times do we have to leave service if it went on to midnight because we got to get up the next morning too early? When I got to get up at 2:30, how many times would I want to try to get out of here and if God wanted a service to go on to 2:30? Do you not think He could take care of me? Or He would say, call in, or whatever it may be? Why do we limit what He's capable of and make a valid excuse? And then we wonder why we can't find peace and joy and love in everything that we do. It's called chastening of God. That's what He's talking about here. We cannot fulfill because of the weights and the things that the enemy's putting upon us. Therefore, God loves you enough that He's not going to let you get comfortable not doing what He's asking us to do. He's not going to let you get there. He's not going to let you be full of joy when you're not in the place that He wants us to be. He's not. Verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which correcteth us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much more rather be the subjection unto the Father of the spirits and believe? For they verily are a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but He for our profit, that we might be partakers of His holiness. Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterward, yielding the